It's you liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard. You liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Paul, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
No, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has any. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out, and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
Oh, we are all the way live. And happy Monday to all of you. Is your microphone? That's yours. Okay. Happy Monday to all of you out there. Thank you so much for tuning in to Feedback, a positive image production by Hood Research. For those of you who are tuned in and may not know, my name is Theo Broughton, co-founder of Hood Research, and my co-host,
the BD, and we welcome you to the program.
That's right. Today is a good day, despite the rain. There are those who don't like rain, but rain is good for us. It provides water for the plants. It provides the water to sweep to clean the streets and the curbs and the sidewalks clean. And it does a lot of good things for us, so don't be angry with the rain. Today we have so much that is going on around us. We have the Kavanaugh scandal. I'm hoping that the FBI turns up positive and significant information to make that go away. And we'll move on and hopefully get a better candidate for the Supreme Court. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. We have so much that's been going on within our community. My condolences out to Joanne Jackson and family. And I want to say good morning to Claire and Clementine and Gladys and to Ron and to Sam and to Les. And there are just so many of you who participate with Hood Research, and we appreciate that. And I want to say good morning to Rosa as well. And Thabita, do you have some you want to say good morning to?
Yes, we have a new viewer. I want to say good morning to Richard, who is my brother.
Aha.
We talked yesterday. He says, "Can I get you guys on TV?" I said, "Yes, just go to Comcast."
All right.
Hey, Rich. Also, Cheryl D., Sheila Ragland, my two favorite frontline warriors, Shane and Jackie, mother and son tandem. And as always, they have your friends, neighbors, relatives, co-workers tune in and have pencil and paper ready for valuable information. And today you will get valuable information that you can record and share.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You know, for those of you who are not registered to vote yet, and for any newly found graduates who have not registered yet, know that you need to be registered so that you too can vote in November. That's during the general election. Very important that you participate and ignore those who say, oh, you know, they moan and groan and act strange. They tell you their vote does not count. Well, I say to you, their vote won't count if they don't cast it. They're accurate in that. However, if your vote was not urgently important, if your vote was not extremely valuable, there would not be so much trouble that folks go through to prevent you from voting. Haven't you ever wondered, why don't they want you to vote? Well, that's something to think about. But because of the fact that your vote is so valuable, we want you to be sure and make sure that you're registered to vote so that you too can cast your vote. As a matter of fact, you need to know that your vote, added to the other votes, have a strong bearing on the things that happen to you personally, along with everybody else. The kind of vote that is cast makes a difference between what happens to you in the community where you live. You hear people say all politics is local. Well, it definitely starts locally. But you need to learn about the government that controls the land you stand on. You need to learn about it and wonder, why did they stop teaching government classes in school? Somebody wanted control of your life. And be careful, because they definitely are trying to take control of your life. Voting is important, whether you really realize it yet or not. But as time goes on, you will find out just how important it is. And this morning, we want to talk about the children and their education and how we care about them. You know, too often I keep hearing, well, by the third grade, there's a decision made as to how many prison cells have to be built. By the third grade. By the third grade. Well, somebody needs to tell me what happens in preschool. What happens in kindergarten? What happens in the first grade? What happens in the second grade? That they get to the third grade and say, well, if they can't read, we're going to make another cell to put them in. Something is wrong with that picture. It's a problem, and we've got to solve it. The meeting.
Yes.
Introduce our wonderful guest this morning. I just love having him on with us.
I'd like to say that I've known this gentleman for many years, and I try to make sure, they say watch the company you keep. Well, he's good company to be in. I like people who inspire me, who engage my mind and intellect. And I could go on, but then the show is only so long. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce David Watkins, who is an author and publisher, artist, and many other talents, but we're going to focus on a few today.
All right.
Thank you very much. Good
You're
morning
welcome.
to both of you.
Good morning.
And to all of you.
Now, you have some very interesting projects going. And to date, how many books have you written?
I've written and published 10 books altogether now.
10 books published.
Yes.
And you focus in on?
Children's books. 9 of my books are children's books. One is a superhero book for, I would say, all ages, anybody who's interested in superheroes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. And today we want to focus in on?
I have an event coming up this Saturday, October the 6th, from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Edison Library. It's called Writing for Children.
Oh.
It's an interactive workshop for those who want to write stories and or books for their children, for grandchildren, and for the general public.
Okay. Writing for children. Would this be by children also?
In some cases, yes, because now I've noticed that there are some children who are writing books for other children. So this workshop is for adults and or children who want to write books for children. It's interactive. There'll be plenty of giveaways. There'll be games, a few fun writing contests, and lots of information.
Oh, wow. Now, the ages that are invited are from what to what?
I want to say from 9 to 90, but if someone who's 91 wants to show up, he or she can. So there's no age limit per se.
I like that.
Yes,
Oh, okay. We had a young writer here, Jabril Muhammad, and when he was, what was he, 9 or so.
About 9 years old,
Not
yes.
about 9 years old. He wrote a book, and the title of it was "My Future is Bright Because."
Yes.
He's a sickle cell patient.
Wow.
But it was a wonderful book, and we had an opportunity to share, his talent with the viewers, and it just let everybody know that young people have a lot to say, and with the project that you're embarking on, it gives them an opportunity to learn how, and the adults who are writing for children and also assisting them, right?
This is true. As you said, they have so much to say, but we have to allow them to say it. Children should be seen and heard.
Children should be seen and heard. You're right. This coming Saturday, which is October the 6th.
Correct.
Okay. You will be at what location again?
The Edison Library, Edison Branch Library, 18400 Joy Road, near the Southfield Freeway.
18400 West Joy Road near
Yes,
the
West Joy
Southfield
Road.
Freeway.
Just west of the Southfield Freeway.
Oh, right. Okay.
Edison Library.
18400. 18400 West Joy Road.
Yes.
Okay, west of the Southfield Freeway. 18400 Joy Road, west of the Southfield Freeway. Okay, now, the time of the event?
From 2 p.m. to 4 p.m.
2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Okay. 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. this coming Saturday, 18400 Joy Road. And what kinds of, I don't know, just tell me a little
Tips?
about the program.
Well,
Yeah.
I have some books I call my ABC series.
Okay.
And some people are familiar with those. I have a book called Which Letter is Better, Awesome Book of Cars, and Animals, Beasts, and Creatures. These are my ABC series books. And so I'm going to use a format similar to that and call it the ABCs of writing for children. For example, A is for age, and I'll talk about focusing on a certain age group. B is for the basics, having an outline or not, and having a theme, a plot, if you're developing a story. C would be for chapter books, and I'll talk a little bit about chapter books, which I've written one, Melvia for Mayor.
Oh, yes.
Yes, that book is about a 12-year-old girl who finds a loophole in the city charter and runs for mayor. So I'll talk a bit about chapter books.
Right.
D is for drawings. Do you or not want illustrations? If so, do you hire someone? Do you have your cousin do the artwork? And I'm not opposed to that. A lot of people say, don't have your cousin or your brother do your artwork. If your cousin or your brother is talented or your sister is talented, why not?
Why not? Right.
Why not?
Yeah. Now, you said outline. Should you have an outline or not?
Yes, there are so many different ways of thinking, and it basically boils down to yes or no. But there are some people who swear by outlines. I'm one of them, and some who don't. Some who just can go off the cuff, so to speak.
Freestyle, free.
Yes,
Is that what you
yes.
call it? Freestyle.
But my outline sometimes is written down, and oftentimes my outline is just a note scribbled here or there to keep me in line as to what I'm going to do. So I have something in mind, some sort of plan as to which way I'm going. I don't want to be willy-nilly.
Okay.
I have to have a plan.
Okay. That's structured writing.
Yes.
Now,
somewhat.
when you did the book, which which letter is better?
Yes, which letter is better?
Go ahead.
I had an outline for that, but that's
Oh.
one of my ABC books. And that book was basically showing children and adults how each letter is important. And if you drop one letter from a word, it can change the whole meaning.
Like?
And I happen to have that book with me.
Oh, my goodness.
Well,
Great minds thinking like, how did
it
I
was
know
part
you
of my
had that
outline
book?
today.
Okay.
So this book, Which Letter is Better, has, for example, Billy saying the letter B is the most important letter. Because without the letter B, when we go to the park to see a bear, we'll just see an ear. And that's not fair. So if you drop the B from the word bear, I don't know if you can see this, if you drop the B from the word bear, it just spells ear. So we have a silly picture and a silly result. I'll give you one more. Rosa says, without the letter R, when the tire needs changing, and there we all sit, Daddy will change his tie, and that won't help a bit. So we're trying to give them a little bit of spelling lesson there, as well as let them know that each letter is important.
Oh, yes. I like that.
I do like my ABCs. Well, they say that's one of the strongest principles to have children start to read. And I want to emphasize now and forever that reading is a big key to being a good writer. Read. Read good books. Read what other people have written, because your book will not be the first nor the last. So read and inspire us to write.
You know, it's interesting. There's a quote by James Baldwin that's popped up on Facebook a number of times. Says, "Read, read, read, and read some more. And when you can't read anymore, then write." And I agree with that. Being a writer of sorts, I don't, have the outline approach, which is I will be in attendance. By the way, I just want to let everyone know. So yours truly will be there with my granddaughter to be able to enjoy this because.
Oh yeah.
Now, when you mention outline, that's one of the things that, like David writes short stories. I don't know how myself personally to develop like plot. You have your antagonist and certain other people that are the features, protagonists actually, and other, which is why I got to attend the thing, right? Since I got that screwed up. But the idea that you have to develop, like you said, outline gives you a roadmap, so to speak, on which direction to go in. So what would you say, having authored books that have short stories where you have a central theme, you have a protagonist, how does one, just like an overview, develop that type of thing so you know what your beginning is? Jane went to the store, and on the way to the store she encountered a little puppy or something. But how do you develop that and then know when you've come to the end of where the story should be? That's the biggest problem I have.
Yes, there's so many different thoughts and philosophies on that. And I would suggest taking a writing class or reading about writing. But the main thing is to have an idea and just start writing. Then later go back, do your editing, your proofreading, things of that sort. But just write it down. Write what you have to say. Then go back and make sure that you have your beginning, the meat of your story, even though I'm a vegetarian, the meat of your story, then the end of your story. And oftentimes, the beginning of your story will foreshadow or give a hint as to the end of your story. And the readers like that. They like to be able to predict something. Oh, I see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And every now and then you throw a surprise in.
We have
but
a caller.
The beginning of go ahead. The beginning of the story has a hint of how the story is going to end.
Yes, especially in a mystery story. You don't want to fool them so much and have the suspect be somebody who's never been in the story.
Oh, right. Right. The mailman did it.
Uh-oh, that's personal.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Lord, I didn't mean to say that. Okay.
The butler usually, right?
Right.
Hello, caller.
Say that.
You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Good morning. It's good to hear laughter.
Happy Monday.
Born new Comcast 91.
Okay.
Yeah, real people write. And
Real people, right.
I'm glad to hear this show this morning. I had a writing class once, and the instructor said, get your pencil and a piece of paper to the class and just write whatever comes to your head. I don't want to see that pencil off the paper. Just keep writing whatever comes to your mind. And it was a wonderful exercise. I still do it sometimes. The stuff I come up with is just remarkable. Then you go back and do some editing, like the brother said earlier. But just the exercise is just awesome. And another thing I wanted to ask the writer, though, a guest there, is what kind of challenges are you in readers, and people who actually hold books have in this high-tech age where everything is, online, even the U.S. Secretary of Education, Betty DeVos, has ordered public schools not to buy so many books.
What?
Because of technology. But that's kind of going another kind of place. But that's where a lot of reading and writing is going. It's
Did you understand his question?
kind of in cyberspace. But I hope to attend your event too.
Okay. State your question again. Okay. State your question. Just a question.
Okay.
The question is.
In this high technological age, people aren't holding the books. They're not even.
Holding books.
You know what I'm saying? Books are online. You just read them through your tablets, different formats. And what kind of challenge do you see as a writer that may have in the traditional way of reading and writing and stuff like that?
Oh, okay. I think I got it. You got it.
Personally, I still like to hold a book. By the same token, most of our books are available online as ebooks. David Watkins 10 at Comcast.net and books by David Watkins.com, as they say. That'll be my website. But there is something for those who are in the new cyber age, and it's called, instead of literature, Twitterature. A lot of people now are going online and writing short poems. They have to be short, 280 characters. Short poems, and they're calling it Twitterature. It's becoming very, very popular. Sometimes it's poetry, sometimes it's just a saying, an axiom, if you will. And that's happening right now. That's something you can do. Just go online, and as you said, just put, well, I won't say your pencil to paper, but put your finger to the keys and type something and put it on Twitter and share it. That's happening a lot. People are putting things on Facebook, people putting things on Instagram. So if you want to just post something just for people's enjoyment and for pleasure and to get your juices flowing, that's one outlet.
See, there's another thing.
So, to the guest, can I ask Neil, Omar?
Yes.
So the challenge that the traditional reading with the tangible books, like I said, the government is telling public schools not to buy so many books because of technology. Books are on their way out. Libraries are closing. What do you think about that? I think they should slow all this stuff up. I really do. The technology, I think people need to have tangible things in their head. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. As a matter of fact, I guess it's about 2 weeks ago now we had a power outage. Okay, now when the power is out and you have maybe 16 hours of daylight, no computer, no refrigerator, no radio, you can pick up a book. You can pick up your encyclopedia because many people still have the encyclopedias, even though we've gone to the internet and all of this computers accessible for the community, the broader community, started in 1995. So there are many people who still have books in their home, on their bookshelves, like I do, and that gives them an opportunity to actually go to their shelves, pick up a book.
And I would like to book of phone numbers too.
And what? And what?
Something about phone numbers.
What about
book of phone numbers? I mean, because if a lot of electronic stuff go out, you can't charge up your cell phone to find a phone number You may have a tangible book of phone numbers, personal
that's so
phone
true.
numbers where you may need to reach somebody.
That's true, and a lot of this electronics has damaged folks' memory, as far as I'm concerned. They, they have difficulty. I said, well, you have such and such. Well, I have to go on my phone and get the number. The only number I can remember is my mom's. I'm like, what? Okay.
David?
I would like to address one thing. Earlier I mentioned to read, 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 and that goes to what you're saying, caller, because I believe that the more we read, the more we'll know, and we'll be able to relate stories to people. When the power goes out, we can tell the stories we've read. We can make up stories. When I say write, I don't mean necessarily just write down, but tell the stories. We become storytellers again, griots again.
Yeah.
We have to share this information with our children, our grandchildren. We tell them the stories, the fables, the tales, the fairy tales. All these things we put to memory as time goes on. And we tell them over and over and over. Because before there were books, there were stories. There were tales. So we have to go back to that.
And I would
Oh,
just like
I
to
feel
add,
you.
I just add quickly also that one of the things that I do, I know David does it as well, is like we'll go to places, resale shops. It could be Salvation Army, Purple Village, I believe it's called, St. John's, or St. Vincent's rather, and buy books. You can get excellent books at very good prices. I bought the book of Josephus, which is one of the Hebrew prophets. I got it for $1. It was a $30 book. So I think it's important that parents, uncles, aunts, grandparents buy books, go out to these things, particularly if you're retired, you have the time to do it. And the range of subjects is just endless. So I've got books on things I'll probably never read, but I just like the idea of having that book available. So I have things on anthropology, astrology, microbiology, physics, as well as just mystery novels and such. So I would emphasize and just encourage people to also consider buying books. And it's a beautiful thing. I have to tell you, I love this personally. When I look on my stand and I just see all these books there, just it's something about it that
Yeah.
overwhelms me. So I would say that one of the things that I think we should, and the cost is very easy. I know David told me once he had bought 5 books for like less than $1 or something like that.
Wow.
How can you beat that? You can't.
Right.
Wow. I have a question.
Well,
Anything?
thank you so much
You're welcome,
for
honey.
this topic.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Okay.
brother.
I had a question. Twiterature. What about twiterature and copyright?
As far as I know, there are ways to look at this. Some say that once you put it out there with your name on it, it's automatically copyrighted.
Yeah,
Others
I've heard that.
still can try to use that and go somewhere else where it's not known. So if you don't feel comfortable sharing your work, then by all means do not do it. Go the standard way, the old-fashioned way, get the copyright, go to Washington, D.C., and take your time and do it that way. But if you want to share things with the group right here and now, then just feel free to do it.
Okay.
We're going to come to you, caller. I just want to make this quick note for anyone who is a writer. You can go to LOC, which is Library of Congress, .gov. You can actually register your name. It costs you nothing to have your name registered in the Library of Congress files. The only time you have to pay is when you upload actual information that you want to have copywritten. So it's good to just have your name registered. I had my daughter do that within the last 6 months or so, just to have it registered so that anytime you do come up with something, all you have to do is upload the information. Another point, and we're coming right to you, caller, is that it's better than doing it through the Postal Service, because when you upload it online, you'll get a response probably within 48 hours to let you know they received it.
Wow.
Now, it won't be registered then, but at least you'll know they have a receipt of it, whereas when I first did mine initially, I had to wait 3 or 4 months. I began to panic in a sort of sense because what I wrote was precious to me, and I was wondering why I hadn't got a response. So you can go through the regular postal method, but it's better to have yourself registered. Again, it's LOC, which is Library of Congress, .gov, and just kind of fool around with it a little bit. You can have your name registered, and at any time that you want to upload something, you can upload it, and at least you'll know it's there, and then you just wait for the official copy maybe a few months later.
Okay.
Going to our next caller.
Yes.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
This is
Go ahead.
Michael, and I'm
Hi,
using
Michael.
a cell phone.
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, how do you feel with it?
Well, thank you. Thank you for calling. We have with us David Watkins, who is an author of children's books. And this coming Saturday, he's going to have a workshop session at the Edison Library, 18400 Joy Road, 2 to 4 p.m. It's a good opportunity for parents and other relatives to come and bring their young children with them, but also to learn how to write children's books and how to encourage children to write children's books.
I did hear about the guest and yourself talking about the merit of reading a physical book, and I agree, and other people can use other means to get information also, but it seems like a lot of people just going strictly to the internet for their information and don't want to put a physical book up and read.
But don't you
And
find
I think, yeah, go ahead.
don't you find that it would be more comfortable if you're reading a book for enjoyment, not for information? I can understand the internet is helpful when it comes to that, but if you're reading a book for just for the enjoyment of it, wouldn't it be better to be able to sit in a comfortable chair as opposed to those chairs they use for computers, pulling up to the computer, and you can have punch or soft drink or something. Wouldn't it be more comfortable that way?
Yes, it would. But I don't think I ever read a book for enjoyment. I always read a book to better myself, increase my knowledge base and my awareness.
Yeah. Well, that is also important to increase your awareness and your knowledge base, and I do understand the necessity for that. But sometime, Michael, seeing as how you're over there on the Atlantic Ocean in Connecticut, it would just be nice as the waves come in and the sun sets and just maybe read a steamy novel or something sometime. Relax, cool out, man, cool out.
Well, I do relax. I do look for activities to decompress, but I don't use a book to do that.
Oh, okay. All right. Human interaction is important too. Well, thank you so much for calling.
All right.
All righty, bye.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Oh, happy Monday.
Hey.
Slide go. I'm just listening to you guys on my phone.
All right.
But I watch you on Comcast.
Uh-huh. Another
my
writer.
question is, the upload, you said loc.gov, you can start putting your writings in this engine, and then you can upload it until you finish with all your upgrading?
Library of Congress.
Well, what I would say, what I've done, and I've learned this just over the years, is that you don't want to do individual pieces because you'll have to pay for each individual piece. So what I do is, like one I called Capricorn Chronicles, which was just a series of poems and writings, and I uploaded it under that. So I only had to pay one fee for it, whereas if I did the individual poems, I would have had to pay for them, I think $35, $40 a piece, and that adds up. So if you have it listed as an anthology, because you can always take something from your anthology and then publish it independent of the anthology that you have. But yeah, it's pretty easy, and I would say just if you have a collection of writings, because I know you're a writer also, Sly, that you get as many as you can at one time and upload those for the one fee.
That makes sense.
Right.
So thanks for that information. I will investigate, and you might have to help educate so I can get that started, because people are always asking me when, and you should. So I need to do, and I need to do it soon.
Right.
Are you guys streaming live on Facebook?
Oh,
We got off to a rocky start, so no.
Okay.
But next week we'll be doing it, and it'll be consistent.
Okay, I was just checking, so I'll know when to put it out there.
Okay.
Good show, interesting. I think reading is fundamental. I think that it is relaxing. And you're right. You get in the right chair and the right view.
That's right.
I mean, I love the sunlight. And just engage yourself. And especially if something that's very interesting.
Right.
I'm recreation education. I love both of it, and I like to mix it in, and reading would be part
Do you read
of recreation as well as education.
Do you read to your grandson?
Oh, he loves it. I tell him to go pick the book.
And he picks the book for you to read to him?
Oh, yes, and I teach him how words. He's learning 4 letters and 3-letter words right now.
Oh, okay.
And I spell it, and I ask him what it is, and he relates to the word in the picture, so he's learning. You know, our children are sponges. All we have to do is keep them in the right environment and lift them up in love.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's so sweet.
Now I want to ask you, David, again. First, let the viewers and listeners know the different books that you have and the way that they can, since she especially mentioned her grandchild, where they can access these books or maybe a few titles. Because I love the ABC series. I have to also tell people that I made it a point to buy those for my granddaughter first because she'll be 10 this month. But I made it a point because I just felt like they're very well illustrated. They're very humorous as well. So it's not like a very stiff kind of reading where you feel it's technical. But, yeah, share with them some of the book titles, where they can get it, and mention that particular information slowly so they can write it down.
Okay. In fact, you said titles, and when I get to T, my ABCs of writing tips, T is for titles because titles are very important. The first thing the person sees is the title and the cover of the book. And my titles are very alliterative usually. Benny and the Basketball Bully, Lancaster Lion, Melvia for Mayor, Stone Soup, Mommy When It's Midnight. This is one of my particular likes, is having the M and the M, the L and the L, etc. So people have all kinds of titles. I'll have one title called The 12 Dancing Princesses.
The what?
The 12 Dancing Princesses.
Oh, okay.
That's not alliterative because it's an old fairy tale, and I updated it. And I want to emphasize to people, if you can't think of your own story, it's all right to get another story, retell it, change the characters, make it ethnic, decide to do it the way you want to do it. Because at this time, for example, there are over 300 editions of The Little Prince, the old children's story. Over 300 editions that have been printed. So imagine what you can do if you take an old Robin Hood story, make Robin Hood a young black boy, and change the whole story around. It can be done.
I'm going to have you finish that, but you just gave me an idea. Robin Hood, I look at it in the context of America now, and maybe I don't want to say the 1%, but then if you put it in that sort of context, but go ahead with the information. But you gave me a great idea.
Okay, I like that. My website, booksbydavidwatkins.com, as they say. And I have 10 books now, including Awesome Book of Cars, which ABC, Animals, Beasts, and Creatures, that's another ABC. And I'm working on a book, my Amazing Bible Coloring Book, another ABC book. And that will be, I think, amazing.
Now, a question.
Yes.
You mentioned your website. That's where a person can purchase the book, or do they go to Amazon or
They
what?
can go to my website, look at the books. That gives an example and a synopsis of each book, and purchase the books from the website. That's the best way to do it. If one knows me personally, see me. I'll deliver the book.
All
I work for
right.
the Postal Service, and I deliver.
Okay.
And if you attend the event which he's going to speak on now, you can purchase the book there. So
Correct, correct.
just let you share that.
18400 Joy Road, near Southfield, Edison Branch Library, from 2 to 4 p.m. Saturday, October the 6th.
That's this coming Saturday,
This coming
October
Saturday, the day
the
after my
6th.
birthday. Oops.
Uh-oh. All right. All right. I have to make a note of that when you get there this Saturday.
And I want to emphasize another thing on the flyer, that there will be games and giveaways. So again, as
Giveaways.
yes. So I mean, who could turn down a giveaway? And the fact that it's interactive. Now, what does that interactivity involve? Will they have pen and paper, or what will they do exactly?
Yes. In fact, thank you for mentioning that, because I'm encouraging people to bring your own notebooks. I'll have paper if you need it, but bring your own notebooks, ink pens, because there will be some writing going on, and somebody will win a prize.
Uh-oh.
In fact, what the heck? 2 somebodies will win a prize.
All right. All right. And I'm hoping that our in-house poet just got off the phone will be there as well, you know.
Now, I want to ask you, David. This is something that I feel personally myself. But what do you think the advantages of writing in terms of reading? And I guess what I mean by that is that for me, I see that the more I read, okay, you develop vocabulary for one thing, which is
Yes.
which I think is the most critical thing, as well as the ideas and concepts that may not have come, but marrying, I would say, writing and reading. How do you see them juxtaposed to each other?
As you said, it increases one's vocabulary, but also as far as ideas, and you can hear one idea and go in the same direction or another direction from something you've heard. I hear an idea about a flying person in a fantasy story, and I take my book even farther. In fact, so many ideas have been based on someone else's idea, and they just go from there, tributaries, as you will, from a river, a stream.
Right.
One of the most important fantasy or superhero characters we know is Superman. Superman was Clark Kent. He had a fortress of solitude in the Arctic, and he was the strongest man in the world. That came out in the 30s after a character named Doc Savage, who came out in the early 30s, whose name was Clark Savage, strongest man in the world, had a fortress of solitude in the Arctic. But in those days, they weren't suing each other about copyright.
Oh.
But Superman was definitely based on Doc Savage.
Wow.
So nowadays, don't just take someone else's character, but you can get an idea or a theme and grasp it and take it into another direction. So the more you read, the more you'll come up with ideas.
You know, I am of the opinion that people who have nothing but 4-letter words in their vocabulary, like, you know, F, U, and all that kind of stuff, have a vocabulary full of vulgar words because they didn't read much. They don't have an extensive vocabulary to choose from. So it's sad because oftentimes you can hear a conversation with folk who are loud on the street, in the mall, or wherever, and every other word is
Oh,
a
yeah.
negative word, and I'm like, my goodness, I guess they never saw a dictionary or never, you know. But I do believe that if people were to do as you say, read a lot, read more, then, as the video was saying, they learn new words that they can make use of, and they don't have to cuss all the time.
I would like to add, and I think this is a remarkable story, but in his upbringing, Malcolm Little was very intelligent, but he was discouraged because he was living in Lansing at that time, although his parents started out in Nebraska. He was, even though he was brilliant, he was encouraged by his teacher to take up a trade like carpentry or something. So that kind of killed his spirit for learning at that time. I think he may have been one of few, if not the only, African American in the class. So while he went through the streets and became the individual, Detroit Red, I believe he was called, and once he was in prison, he read the dictionary from beginning to end. And I think that's an excellent thing. I've actually tried to, I haven't stuck with it, but I've done it because just in a definition, you can gain so much information. I think that, like you said, you emphasize reading because of the vocabulary, but just pick up a dictionary at some time and just kind of scan through it. You can learn so much. Go ahead, David.
If you're going to get a dictionary, and I got this from my father, and I learned this too, find a dictionary where there are at least 100 definitions for the word run.
Wow.
Run.
That's a good dictionary. R-U-N. If you can't find a dictionary that has at least 100 words for the word run, put it down, get another dictionary, because that's the word you need to look at first. Run. So run to your bookstore, pick up the dictionary, look up the word run. If it has 100 or more definitions, get that one.
That's quite a dictionary.
Wow.
You
Is there more than one dictionary that has 100 definitions?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
It's interesting because when I've gone to book sales, I'll hold that thought. Here we have a caller. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
I'll follow up call, Born New, Comcast 91. I want to encourage people to create new words, too. Black people have been doing that anyway, but
Right.
I think we need to create words that support our situation and our purpose, because there's a lot of bad words in this English language that demean us. So, peace and love.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Peace and love.
On that note, caller, there are some words that have been negative, and they're in a lot of books, old books. For example, right now there's a controversy going on about Little House on the Prairie author Laura Ingalls Wilder. And a lot of little girls grew up with that book series, and they enjoy it. But there's an article in the New Writer's Digest by a black woman who used to work for Essence and Glamour magazine, and she talks about how even though she's going to hold on to her books for nostalgic sake, if you reread those books, you'll find a lot of racism. We used to call it just prejudice. A lot of racism toward blacks and toward Native American Indians. So as the caller said, we need to revisit creating words that are positive and getting rid of words that are negative in our vocabularies. We can't change what's in the old books, but we can rewrite those stories, update them, and correct them.
Now we're in our last 2 minutes of the show.
Oh, come on.
You know how time goes when you're having fun, huh?
Yes. Oh, goodness.
So I would like you again, David, to share the information about the event coming up and maybe an overview and details. And then I look forward to seeing all of you there on Saturday.
That's right.
Writing for children. If you ever wanted to write a story or a book for children, for your grandchildren, I'm having a workshop, an interactive workshop with plenty of giveaways this Saturday, October the 6th, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Edison Branch Library, 18400 Joy Road, near Southfield Freeway.
Okay.
And let's stop fighting amongst one another, because the crow will delight to see two grasshoppers fight.
Oh, wow. I wonder who wrote that one.
It's an African proverb.
The crow will delight in seeing two grasshoppers fight. And they just wait to swoop down, huh?
So we're in our last 60 seconds.
Oh, I hate it. Well, I say it's not necessary for you to know everything. What is necessary is for you to know how to find what you need when you need it. And we at Hood Research seek out as much information as we can, as we have for this morning with David Watkins, the author. And that helps us and you with the information that you glean to make better informed decisions.
When you read to your children, grandchildren, nephews, or nieces, you also increase your own knowledge. And as I always say, if you want to be nothing, do nothing. But the only problem with doing nothing is you never know when you're finished. So we'll see you Saturday between 2 and 4 p.m. at 18400 Joy Road, just west of the Southfield Freeway, for Writing for Children interactive workshop.
All right. Well, tune in again next week. Thank you for being with us today. Have peace.
Peace.
Peace.